Could Diddy's prison saga take an unexpected twist? Just as the world thought his fate was sealed, rumors of a shocking release have surfaced, shaking the very foundation of the case against him. But how did we get here, and what happens next?
Whisper World.
We're monitoring another push to free Sean Diddy Combs tonight, with his legal team citing new evidence in an updated bail proposal. The music mogul agreeing to around-the-clock security and cutting out contact with basically anyone but his legal team to get out of jail ahead of his trial scheduled for May of next year for charges he allegedly coerced and abused women for years.
Diddy's journey from revered music mogul to the center of one of the entertainment world's most explosive scandals has been both shocking and complicated. It all started with allegations that painted a dark picture of a man once celebrated as a cultural icon. Former partner Cassie Ventura's lawsuit in late 2023 kicked off the storm, detailing years of alleged physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. But it didn't stop there. One by one, more individuals came forward, each adding to the growing list of accusations, spanning decades and involving shocking claims of coercion, manipulation, and even destruction of evidence. These allegations have turned Diddy's life into a legal minefield, with his reputation and career hanging by a thread. But while the accusations are severe, Diddy has maintained his innocence from the start, claiming this is all part of a coordinated attack on his legacy.
I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
Here's where things get even more complex. Diddy's legal team isn't just fighting back against the allegations, they're targeting the prosecution itself. In a bold move, they've accused federal agents of misconduct during the investigation. One of the most jaw-dropping claims involves a raid on Diddy's jail cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center. The defense alleges that agents seized confidential legal documents, breaching the attorney-client privilege, a cornerstone of any fair trial. According to Diddy's team, this wasn't an innocent mistake. They argue it was a deliberate act to sabotage his defense. If these claims hold up, they could have enormous implications for the case. Evidence obtained through unethical means could be thrown out, potentially dismantling the prosecution's argument. Could this be the lifeline Diddy desperately needs, or is it just a desperate Hail Mary from his defense team?
Called this afternoon at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, they're legal documents. The government's saying no. On the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
But the controversy doesn't stop there. Diddy's team has also accused federal prosecutors of illegally listening to private conversations between Diddy and his lawyers. Imagine being under constant surveillance, even during confidential strategy meetings. This level of alleged intrusion raises serious questions about the integrity of the investigation. Was this a case of overreach by the prosecution, or was it a calculated move to gather evidence at any cost? The defense has described these actions as unethical and illegal, claiming they undermine the very foundation of the justice system. As public scrutiny intensifies, even critics of Diddy are starting to wonder if the system is being manipulated. Is Diddy now subjected to constant surveillance like the guests of his infamous freak-off parties were? The irony here is striking, as the man who allegedly orchestrated an environment where privacy was non-existent may now find himself in a similar position. Reports of clandestine recordings at those extravagant gatherings painted a picture of high-profile guests unknowingly being captured during moments of debauchery. These recordings, according to rumors, were used as leverage to maintain power and control, leaving many of those guests not only embarrassed, but also fearful of potential blackmail or legal consequences. Now, as Diddy navigates life behind bars, his every move is monitored by correctional officers and cameras, stripping him of the privacy he once took for granted. The parallels between his current predicament and the experience of those at his parties raise questions about justice, accountability, and the cycles of power dynamics that can reverse in unexpected ways. Could this surveillance serve as a stark reflection of his own actions, forcing him to confront the discomfort of living under an unyielding gaze? Or does it highlight the broader issue of how wealth and influence often insulate individuals from the full consequences of their choices, even when the tables turn? Diddy's legal team has turned their attention to the conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center. Described by some as hell on earth, the facility has long been criticized for its overcrowding, understaffing, and dangerous environment. Former inmates have shared horror stories of violence, neglect, and inhumane living conditions. Diddy's lawyers argue that keeping him there while he awaits trial amounts to a violation of his rights. They've highlighted incidents where inmates have suffered serious injuries, or worse, due to lack of supervision and basic care. To make matters worse, rumors have surfaced about Diddy being placed in a special bubble cell, complete with plexiglass walls and 24/7 monitoring. It's a stark contrast to the glamorous life he once led, but his team is using this as part of their argument that the punishment doesn't fit the crime, especially since he hasn't even been convicted yet.
And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on watch.
In the court of public opinion, Diddy's team is working hard to shift the narrative. They've been emphasizing his achievements as a music icon, philanthropist, and entrepreneur who built an empire from the ground up. Their goal? To remind the world of the man behind the allegations and sway public sentiment in his favor. But this strategy isn't without its critics. Many argue that Diddy's legal troubles are self-inflicted, pointing to years of alleged abusive behavior and unethical practices. Social media has become a battleground, with fans and detractors clashing over his legacy. Some believe Diddy is being unfairly targeted, while others see this as long overdue accountability for a powerful figure who thought he was untouchable. Regardless of which side you're on, one thing is clear: public perception will play a crucial role in how this story unfolds. And just when you thought the story couldn't get more dramatic, whispers of a potential escape plan have emerged. Speculation is running wild that Diddy might flee the country if granted bail. Could he disappear to a private island or a country without an extradition treaty with the U.S.? It's a scenario that's as thrilling as it is controversial. Fans are divided, with some dismissing it as pure fantasy, and others pointing to his vast resources and connections as proof it's possible. While these are just rumors, they've added another layer of intrigue to an already sensational case. If Diddy were to flee, it would set off a media firestorm and raise even more questions about the fairness and effectiveness of the legal system. As the case progresses, the stakes couldn't be higher. If convicted, Diddy faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. But his legal team isn't backing down. They've filed defamation lawsuits against some of his accusers, alleging that their claims are fabricated and part of a larger scheme to destroy his reputation. They're also challenging the evidence, questioning the motives of witnesses, and doing everything in their power to reshape the narrative. It's a high-stakes battle that's as much about public opinion as it is about the law. Whether or not Diddy can clear his name remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: this case has already cemented its place in entertainment history as one of the most dramatic legal sagas of all time. So, where does this leave us? Will Diddy's legal team successfully dismantle the case against him, or are these just desperate attempts to avoid accountability? And if he's released, will he take the dramatic step of fleeing the country, or will he stay and fight to clear his name? The debate is far from over, and the world is watching every move. Could this be the start of a remarkable comeback for one of music's biggest stars, or is it just the prelude to an even bigger scandal? The truth, as they say, is often stranger than fiction, and in Diddy's case, it seems to be stranger than anyone could have imagined. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more updates on this ever-evolving story.
Whisper World.